Aloha and mahalo for watching. Captain Chef Jeff here with a mustard pecan crusted striper recipe. You can use haddock, cod, or halibut for this one. Stay away from mahi mahi. You're going to put Dr. Bronner's coconut oil in your pan, or any other high quality coconut oil. You could use avocado oil or olive oil. You're just going to put a thin layer on the bottom. If using olive oil, make sure that you have a high quality olive oil. Not all olive oil is actually olive oil. Do some research on that. Again, I use Bragg olive oil because I trust them. You're going to cut your fish, again, this is a striped bass, into 1/2 to 1 inch thick pieces. When you have it all cut up, you're going to place it in the pan face up, pretty much keeping it uniform in size. Don't want to pack it in tight. You don't want it in loose as individual pieces. If you don't have enough to fit your pan, just make it into one clump and leave an open space. Then you're going to put on it Woeber's sweet and spicy mustard, which you can find in most food stores. That's pretty easy to come across. The ingredients are pretty good in there as well. Stay away from a Dijon mustard or a brown mustard or a horseradish mustard. You're going to then spread that around the fish pretty evenly. You want to see a little bit of the fish coming through. You don't want it to be 100% mustard, but you want a little bit through. You're then going to take pecans and you're going to chop them up. I have a nice little grinder here, which makes them nice and fine and small. You don't want it to be dust. You're going to coat the fish with the pecans, not so much that you see only nuts. You want to have that mustard come through when you cook it. We're then going to use Redmond's Real Salt, which I use for 95% of my cooking. And you're going to put a liberal coating of that on because the pecans are raw and they don't have any salt on them. You're going to see real quick here my shoes here, the Swedish chef, his little cutaway, it's going to happen. There it is. You're going to put it in the oven for 325 degrees for 15 minutes. Captain Chef Jeff here, and today we went fishing on the Back Bay with Dr. Joe Haddock. I was very grateful to be a guest of his, and we caught a bunch of striper, also known as striped sea bass. So we're going to do a quick recipe. It's going to be a pecan, mustard crusted striped sea bass. So we're going to put down some coconut oil on a pan. This is super simple, super easy, super easy to make. This also does not need to be striper. However, yeah, I would stay with the thicker whitefish and stay away from mahi mahi. I have a better recipe for mahi mahi, but this can be cod, it can be halibut, obviously striped sea bass. Do not use black sea bass. It's a thinner fish. We're looking for a little thicker fish, or a porgy. Although we can get some very thick fillets out of the black sea bass, most of the black sea bass that people will get will be very thin. All right, so we're going to put a little bit of coconut oil on the bottom of the pan. And then what we're going to do is bring in a striper that we have here. These are some of the smaller cuts and pieces from the bottom that aren't necessarily always that great in terms of making the fillet look pretty, but this recipe is gonna be excellent. We're gonna use all of this and it's gonna be rather tasty. So what we're looking to do is just cut the striper into pieces here that are about that thick. So anywhere from 1/2 inch to 1 inch. You don't want to go less than 1/2 inch. And we're just going to cut all of this up. Like that. That's an idea of the pieces. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take the striper and we're going to put it in this pan. And it's going to be, just lay it side by side. It doesn't really matter. Just try to keep everything as thick as possible coming up. And keep it kind of the same. You don't need to use coconut oil. I would recommend avocado oil as your second choice and olive oil as your third choice. Olive oil sometimes can be a little overpowering in flavor for fish. Definitely do not use butter or ghee. in this scenario, and don't use any other vegetable oils. So your options are coconut oil, avocado oil, and then last but not least, a high quality olive oil. Bragg, it's organic. I trust them completely. If you're not sure about what I'm talking about with olive oil, just do a little research and you'll see that a lot of olive oil is not actually olive oil. So I like to put high quality things in my body, and these are the things that I keep my health with. So this is should fill the pan up here, and what we're looking to do is, you're not looking to individually lay the fish out. We're looking to just fill it up. So make it as tight as you can. And if you have fall a little bit short, which looks like we're going to be pretty close here, you just spread it out a little bit. The goal is just to cover the whole bottom of the sheet. And by dumb luck here, it looks like that we have just the right amount. Literally, dumb luck. Okay. And it's pretty good covered. Okay, so we're going to use sweet spicy mustard. This is by Sandwich Pal, by Woeber's. Very good mustard. I really recommend that if you're going to use a mustard, do not use a regular brown mustard, a spicy brown like a Gulden's. Try to stay away from horseradish. This mustard should be easy for you to find. It's relatively inexpensive, and I like it because the ingredients are pretty clean. Just like most mustards, there's not really much garbage in them. And for the most part, you get what's on the label. So you're going to put a decent amount on it. And then what you're going to do is just brush it around. You're going to try to give it a nice, good coating. If you need a little bit more, put it in. This mustard, I feel you can't put too much. However, with that being said, some of you will put too much. So you don't want to have it completely yellow. You still want to be able to see the fish through at some points. And it's always easier to add a little bit more than it is to take it away. And again, I think I did an excellent job of judging the mustard. And everything seems good. So that's what you want it to look like. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to finish grinding up some pecans, or chopping up pecans. What we're going to call it. I happen to have this cool little grinder thing here, and it just does an amazing bit of work. It's probably the best, I think, $5 I've ever spent. And what it does is it makes it look amazing size and uniform size just for this. So the goal here is to put enough pecans on here where it looks like you have pecans, but it's not a solid sheet of nut. You don't want it to just be a solid. You want it to actually, the mustard to bubble up around everything. And then we're going to just put a little bit of real salt here. It's the salt I use for 95% of everything, if not 99%. And we're going to salt this decent amount because there is no salt in the pecans. These are raw pecans, unsalted. And this is a fine salt I'm putting on here. I'm going to go with that. Okay, so now we have the pecan mustard crusted striper ready to go in the oven. Set the oven for 325 degrees, and your timer for 15 minutes. Keep in mind that your oven might take a little longer. Ovens are very inaccurate, whether you have gas or electric, and you might need to cook it a little bit longer. In this case, it's better to cook it a little bit more than it is to undercook it. So if you need to cook it for 17 minutes or 18 minutes, then, just check it out. You'll know whether it's cooked or not, because when it's cooked, it'll be completely white and a little solid. Yeah, and you're going to get some liquid from the fish in there, so that's how you know. When you have liquid around it, that's when you're complete. And then basically you just cut it like it's lasagna. Going to stick together. And you're going to wind up with nice, steamy, hot piece of pecan mustard and crusted striper for you to enjoy. Please remember to like, share, subscribe, and if you make this recipe, please comment. Again, thanks for tuning in to Captain Chef Jeff.